Hey, good morning. Today is July 16th, and we are continuing our awesome discussion on everything from gastric bypass, breast reductions, plastic surgery, bathing suits, hating your body, loving your body, insecurity, rejection, and the way that we think, the way that we feel, and the way that we believe. So, thank you so much for sticking with us. Like I said, we are going to spend the whole month of July celebrating what I'm calling "Baby, You're a Firework," based on that song by Katy Perry. Because who does not want to fly in the sky the exact way that you were created to be and make everybody watch you and be amazed? So, thank you for tuning in. If you're joining us now, just keep in mind, I'm on a different platform than Facebook. So you could be watching this on YouTube, you could be watching this on Facebook, but I don't know who's watching. So give me a little shout out, tell me who you are, so that we can interact. But don't be alarmed, because I will give you a shout out if I'm able to see it. So look, we got special guest today with us. I mean, she is the most quoted person by me in the last 2 months probably, but Brittany Ross is here. And based on our time last week, if you remember last week, I ended by sharing a story about a woman that I sat in a wait group with after like recovery from gastric bypass and all of that. And if you remember, I shared the story, and if you didn't see it, I'll link that video to this video. But the woman was convinced that when she lost weight, people were opening doors for her. Men would honor her enough to open a door when she was going to walk into a store or whatever. And she was convinced that when she gained weight, nobody was opening doors for her anymore. If you remember at the end of the video, I said, I did not believe that at all, because she stopped making eye contact. She was convinced people weren't looking at her, but if she was looking down and not looking up, how would she ever even know? So that turned into the whole concept that nobody opens doors for us like we can open doors for us. Yes, do we make connections, and do a lot of people get doors open because it's who you know, whatever? Yes, but for the sake of today, what I'm saying is your voice has the power to open doors for you. And so it reminded me, I had gotten that concept a few years ago from somebody on one of those home remodeling shows. They went in and they reconstructed this whole family's house. And the man of the house was in a wheelchair, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. And so the special thing that they did for him was they made all the doors in the house voice activated, which means he only had the authority and the power to stand at that threshold and vocally open the door to where he wanted to go. And man, when that whole revelation came, that is exactly the power that our voice holds. Now, you've been watching this, so you know a big thing for me is that if it's true in the natural, it's true in the spiritual. That's a perfect example. That is something that's happening in the natural. You could buy the equipment to do that in the natural, but it's also true in the spiritual. You have promises, you have destiny, and they're like in a vault, locked, and they're yours. I can't get them. Brittany can't get them. Your neighbor can't get them. They're yours, but they require your voice. So today we're going to talk about what is your voice saying? What are other people's voice affecting about your voice, and how it's all playing off of each other? We're going to talk about the download and the revelation Brittany got when we had our class last week, or our video last week, and what had happened prior to that. So we're going to talk all about self-judgment. What are you saying? What are you doing that's keeping your doors closed? Because your voice has the power to unlock your destiny. And the cool thing is, a lot of us are wondering why we're not in our destiny. It's because we're standing in front of somebody else's door. If I'm standing in front of my neighbor's door because I think she's cuter and prettier, and it's like, let's make a deal. I think what's behind her door is better than what's behind my door. Her door ain't going to open with my voice, and my door is there, and I'm not in front of it getting what is for me. So today, whose door are you standing in front of? And if it's yours, are you speaking the things that need to be spoken to open your door? So, hey, good morning. Welcome. This is 330 Media. Like and subscribe to my channel. I am doing my best to change this city and this, the tension that we're all living under, to begin to think our best, feel our best, and believe our best. And you know, if you join me at all, that all has to do with our three brains. Our mind is the way we think, our heart is the way we feel, and our gut is the way we believe. And if you're not in alignment, then you keep getting pulled off course. So you're thinking you want to go this way, and for some reason you end up over here. It's because you're not in alignment. For some reason, you may think that you deserve good things, but if you believe you're going to get screwed, the believer is out of alignment, and just like our car, it's causing you to get off course. So our focus this month is about our brains. What are we thinking? What are we feeling? What are we believing? Thank you for joining us. I'm going to have Brittany Ross. So Michelle, thank you for joining us. If you're here, give me a shout out. Let me know who you are. We're going to come right back with Brittany. Again, like, subscribe, share these videos. We are trying to change everybody, one person at a time. So if we could all get this, if we could all get free, imagine how amazing the world would be if we were all excited about our life. So, all right, go get your coffee, go get your snacks, do whatever you need to do. And I'm going to be right back with Brittany Ross. All right. Good morning. Hi, Brittany.
Good morning.
I mean, Brittany, seriously, you're famous. And on this show, in this series, you're famous. I've been quoting you, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you about following up even about our original video, and then about some of the things that happened to you last week prior to our Thursday at 10 last week. So we got a lot going on. Brittany's here. We're talking about everything from self-image, self-hate, self-love, everything. So look, if you got a comment, give us your comment. If you want to come on and dialogue with me, I totally love that. Even if it's just you getting a life coaching session right while we're online together. So look, if you have something to say, if you want to share something, just add it to the comments and I will do my best to filter those in. If you want to be on the show, go to 330live@gmail.com. But my guest, Brittany, she literally looks gorgeous for just ending a Zumba class. Brittany's a Zumba teacher. She has an amazing blog, which I've been quoting, that is Britt Blazes Her Trail. And so Brittany also teaches an online Zumba class. And if you want to get in touch with her at all, Keeping It Moving Through the Summer is your Facebook, right, Britt?
That's our online Zumba group.
Yeah. Okay. No G's at the end of that. So Keeping It Moving Through the Summer. But regardless, if you can't find her, Brittany Ross on Facebook, or just text this page right here, and she'll respond to you, and you can get connected to her class. You would love her and her heart. So, all right. Hi, everybody. Marissa, Star, Katie. All right. We got our posse. They're coming on. I love it. All right. So, Britt, give us the scoop. You called me last week at the end of the class, and we were both kind of dumbfounded by what had happened to you last week. So give us the scoop.
So just to preface this, I wrote a blog that that you've mentioned on my brittblazertrail.com about the perfect summer body, and how I felt like I'm so much in this process that you've been talking about through this month of just breaking free from the societal standard and accepting myself. You know, I have been involved in fitness for my whole adult life, which I love, and it's not a bad thing. And I'm going to continue to love it because it's a part of who I am. However, my motivations, in the past had been about self-hatred, not working out. So now it's like, I want to work out because I love my body, not because I hate it. I've said that for years. However, I feel like that concept is just going layer by layer, deeper, deeper, deeper. And I'm just breaking free from this desire to fix myself and to fix my body um, in order to accept it, and just learning how to accept myself at any size, at any stage, at any point in my journey. What had happened was I had lost 30 pounds in 2018, was feeling like on top of the world, was very self-accepting at myself at that size. Well, I make a long story short, the pounds piled back on. Food, I have a food addiction that I'm still working through. I comfort myself with food. Also like to drink wine. So
Also like to shop, also like, yeah, right. I mean,
yeah,
I do it right.
right. So anyways, the pounds piled back on, and I would do a strict diet, lose the weight, gain the weight back. Do a strict diet, lose the weight, gain the weight back. And the Lord's like, can you just accept yourself here? Would you just accept yourself like you've accepted yourself when you were 30 pounds lighter? And I started to realize how shallow my self-acceptance had become. So as I'm working through that and learning how to let that self-acceptance really root itself in something so much deeper than how much gravity it takes to keep me on the floor, which is all your weight is, you know? So I'm working through what that looks like. And so I'm very much in the middle of this process. I believe it. God's moving me forward in it. And I go to the doctor. I was very hesitant to even go to begin with because I had some blood work done. The blood work was ordered by my dermatologist. So I was planning to follow up with her.
And this was just last week.
This was last week.
Yeah, right.
Last week, my doctor's office, my primary care office, they received my blood work because they are listed as my primary care. So I had no intentions of following up with my primary care doctor because it was the dermatologist who ordered the blood work. Blood work was fine. However, he had said something about my protein being a little bit high in my blood. And so we got into this little dialogue. He said, do you eat a lot of protein? Well, yeah, I mean, I eat chicken, turkey, whatever. And he's like, okay. He's like, so what do you have for breakfast? Now, side note here, I usually do intermittent fasting, which is you eat in a certain time frame each day. So I don't normally eat breakfast because I don't start eating till 11. I didn't tell him any of that. All I said was, I don't normally eat breakfast. And he goes, oh, it rolled off his tongue like nothing. Oh, you should. It'll probably help you lose weight. And I was like, and I just kind of stared at him with eye daggers coming out of my eyeballs. And
so wait, any woman or man who's watching this, just give me a thumbs up on this feed if you can relate to wanting to dive over the table to the doctor's neck, or can relate to even being too young to realize that's a perspective, not the truth. Because everything, I remember being young. I mean, I could stub my toe and didn't want to go to the doctor because it was going to turn into how I was fat. How does everything boil down to lose weight? Anyways, all right, so go ahead.
So he goes, so then after I stared at him, like, I'm going to let you try to retract that. Like,
yeah, right. Revisit that. Yeah.
Goes, yeah, no, you should really eat breakfast. It'll help you lose weight. And I was like, okay. So I was, just to be frank, pissed off.
Yeah, right.
And I left there literally enraged. I had to phone a friend. I texted my friend and was like, can I call you? I'm so mad right now. So I told her what happened. And of course, she was enraged with me and just kind of validated my feelings. But what I kind of worked out through the process of thinking through that and how it made me so angry was his comment was not, it had nothing to do with me and it had nothing to do with him. What it really revealed is this societal judgment involving our weight. So he assumed because I'm a woman sitting in his office that I wanted to lose weight.
Right.
Okay. To be honest, yeah, I would like to lose weight, but I
ain't none of your business.
Yeah, I never mentioned that. That wasn't why I was there. And like, what do you think that comment would do to somebody? And so I started to think through this, and I'm like, I'm not mad at him. I know he's a good guy, whatever. He's just but he's doing what society has told him to do. And the reason it made me so mad is because my own self judgment.
Mm.
Yes, I know I'm sitting here 30 pounds heavier than my ideal weight. Okay. I know that. And that has put a pressure on me. And so now I'm sitting here and my doctor talking to you about a totally unrelated issue, and you just casually throw out there, oh, you should do this, it'll help you lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, it takes me off to think, okay, are you giving me the implication that I should give up my chicken breast and start eating waffles for breakfast, and that'll help me
Right,
lose weight?
right,
Because that's totally false.
right.
But I the whole thing just got me on this thought process of like how I have so harshly judged myself, and how self-judgment has robbed me from peace. It has robbed me of peace. It has robbed me of joy. It has robbed me of the life force available in the Lord, that is really rooted in understanding that we are unconditionally loved.
Right.
And I think why it hit me then, and honestly, afterwards, after I worked through the whole shock of it all, I felt so happy that God was bringing this up, because I know he was trying to get me to focus on that trigger button. What
Mhm.
is that inside of me that is resonating? What did his voice activate in me? Talk about voice
Right.
activation.
Mm-hmm.
What did this worldly perspective, this societal judgment activate inside of me?
Right.
That had made me so pissed off.
Yeah.
And so I can't change what that doctor is going to do. I can't change how society is going to behave. Okay. But what I can change is my internal world and what is going on with inside of me, and what I'm going to be triggered by and what I'm not.
Right.
And so, like I said, it just brought up this whole idea of self-judgment. I have judged myself as, yes, I do need to lose weight. I know I've gotten heavier, blah, blah, blah. And it's crap. I mean, really, the whole thing is crap. And I feel like more than just understanding and coming to a place of self-acceptance, we need to reject the idea that our appearance and that our body and our weight and all of that holds so much importance.
Right.
And we need to we need to break off that self-judgment that comes with our appearance, and we need to attach ourselves and agree with the truth that our bodies are not the beginning. It's not a barometer for worthiness. You know what I mean? And it is
Yeah.
not it is not something that will measure our happiness or increase our happiness or our
Right.
joy in life.
Right.
Anybody will tell you, like, anyone who struggled with an eating disorder or anything like that, or who has lost the weight, you're still the same person. You're carrying your same junk in that smaller body.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
that's on the inside. That nothing on the outside is going to change that.
Right.
So I'm all about being your healthiest. I'm all about, like I said, I've been involved in the fitness world for a long time. I'm about that. I like it. I think it's great. We should all be good stewards. Okay. But like we talked about in our first video we did together, our bodies are an instrument, not an ornament. They're not the most important part about ourselves. They're the least interesting things
Mm-hmm.
about ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we don't agree with that fact, if we don't break off the judgment that says my body is, it is up here when it comes to my worth and how people perceive me. No, that's crap.
Right.
We need to accept that there are so many more important things about ourselves that have nothing to do with what you see in the mirror.
Right. So the $1 million question is now, there's so much to say about the example that you've laid out, because everybody can relate to that, especially when you begin to walk in a season of your life where you're like, oh, I'm finally free. I'm okay. This is going to be the time I go to the doctors. He's going to say, you're doing a bang up job.
Right.
And you still get it. So the
Yes.
couple things that while you're talking, keeping in step with the voice activation. And last week I talked about the magnets. Some of the difficulty is if it's true in the natural, it's true in the spiritual, just to drive that home so that we get this. Science has set up magnetism. It connects you. Okay. But the way that magnets work is a negative and a positive. One is set off to give, and the other is set up to receive. And the challenge for us in this discussion is, how is our receiver? Because it seems very easy to receive garbage, and yet we propel the good word. Like I said last week about the times that our mom would say, honey, you're beautiful, and we just want to strangle her.
Right.
We propel and we reject positive feedback. So when God says in his word that we are wonderful and that with him we can do all things, what he's saying is, with me, I will give you the power to have the words to really open your door, to use your voice to open your door. But we look and we say, we're standing in front of our door, and what we're reciting is all negativity. Right. Well, my door ain't gonna open. And if it did, yes, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. If the door opens, I probably won't even fit through the threshold because I still got to lose weight. I mean, we're just constantly connecting with the negative, and we have to flip, because it's like you said, we can't go around and silence, like whack-a-mole, that game at an amusement place. We can't shut everybody up so that we have a good day. Exactly. We have to learn to reject the negative that's coming to us.
Absolutely. 100%.
It's very difficult. And the other thing I'll share in line with our first discussion that I had shared with you too, in regards to self-judgment, it really does go deep. Because I confess to you that in the middle of our dialogue about the bathing suits, you were saying, hey, girl, if you love that bathing suit and you rock it, go for it. And I immediately said, yeah, but there is the right one to buy. My mindset was immediately set to, but there is the better one. So now look, there's two trains of thought with that. Yes, there's a lot of people that are wearing suits and they're miserable in them because they don't know how to dress their body.
Right.
They don't know what to do. I got to be honest with you. I just had this plastic surgery to get rid of all this excess skin, and I'm more frustrated than I was before. Because before, I knew where my belly button is. Now it's in the right place. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing doing right here? Well, I don't even know how to dress myself. There is an element, there is an element of frustration that comes because you think you're picking the right thing, appearance wise, or suit or whatever. And you just don't have the skill. You don't know how to do it. You don't know what to do. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I just need help, because you could be in a suit and be miserable. But that wasn't what you were saying. You were saying, hey, if this is the suit you're in because you love it and you feel great in it, as great as we could feel in a suit, rock it.
Right.
My mindset was, well, no, don't rock it too much, unless I was automatically bringing in the self-judgment.
Absolutely.
Automatically, even though I felt like I was connecting with what you were saying, there was still a deep thing inside of me that was saying, there's still a right suit. Get the suit that people will think is right. Yes. So look, feedback for Brittany and I. Let us know, what are your thoughts? How do you view self-judgment? What is your voice saying? What are you doing that is connecting with the negative instead of rejecting it? So continue to give us your feedback and let us know. But real quick, Brittany, are you playing with something on your table? Oh, because I'm hearing a tapping noise.
It might be my fan. You think it's a fan?
No, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is hearing it, but I'm not sure what it is. But all right, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, self-judgment, I think for me, at least, it was kind of like a different concept. Like, I didn't really know how it looked, and I definitely wouldn't have just on my own discovered that, thought that I was that I was judging myself. And that's why the doctor's comment hit me so hard. But I think if you look at yourself and you think of the times that you judge other people, oh, she should not be wearing that suit.
Mm-hmm.
That reveals a place of self-judgment. That reveals that you are in agreement. You are in agreement with judgment.
Yeah, that there's a right and there's a wrong.
and you're not going to escape it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's like, I feel like that is something that we still have to break off to say, like, where am I in agreement with judgment? Like you said, there's a right and a wrong. And like, I think when you and I talked on the phone, I said, that is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That is not the tree of life. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I think we lose so much of ourselves, and we lose so much of what we really need, that acceptance, that self-acceptance, when we partner with judgment. Because if there's a right and a wrong, there are so many different people out there. There are so many different ways to look and ways to express yourself and ways to be. And if there's a right and a wrong, then I'm going to look at somebody else that I admire who's nothing like me and think, oh, they're awesome. I must suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I must be wrong. Or, you know what I'm saying? And that's just not how God created the earth to begin with, and if we all look like each other, it'd be a really boring planet,
Mm-hmm.
and we lose so much of ourselves, and we lose so much of our internal peace, because, you talked about the whack-a-moles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can change, we can work our freaking butts off to change everything about ourselves. And there will still be, because we want acceptance.
Right.
And there will still be people who do not accept us.
Right.
So we have we've strived, we've tried, we've done everything we can, and we're still frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have rejected ourselves in order to get self-acceptance from somebody else. They can't give it to us.
Right.
And so we have to ask ourselves, where are we sacrificing our own sense of internal peace and internal love in order to get something from somebody else that they can't give us? They just can't do it.
Right. Well, and again, that speaks to the fact that we need to get in front of our door. We need to be responding to what's in our space. Typically, I think, everything about this time, this month, is to try to bring some kind of awareness to what is happening internally, to realize that the quick fix of just going to join another weight program or whatever isn't the solution. There's not something wrong with you. You're just focused on the wrong issue.
Exactly.
The issue is not just a smaller butt. The issue is what's happening on the inside, because you will spend the rest of your life striving for something that's moving. And it's really not fair, because when you're externally striving, that will constantly be moving. So the reality of it is, this is just a reminder. Are you standing in front of somebody else's promises, standing in front of somebody else's door, rejecting the way you look, the way you sound, the way you speak, the way you clean a house, the way you do this, the way you...
Yes.
What's in your door? So Michelle, let's see what she says. We'll all read it together. She said, I think the doctor response from the doctor confirmed that the weight is the first thing people see. Before addressing your blood work, he addressed what we see. With a bathing suit, we address how someone looks in the suit before we consider how they feel in the suit. Yes. Mm-hmm. Because immediately, and I think for somebody like me, and look, there's a lot of reasons we're judging. There's a lot of reasons that we judge. A lot of times, yeah, I'm just judging because I'm shallow and selfish. A lot of times I'm judging because as a life coach, I want to help somebody. I want to go up to somebody and say, oh my God, is that really what you intended to do here with this outfit? I want to help you pull this together. I want to help you feel more confident, because I know what it's like to walk around in skin that you wish you could peel off and burn, because you're just so uncomfortable, and so to some degree, some of it's a desire to help, some of it is a desire to, but it really is very assuming. One of the big things we learn when we go through life coaching school is that we cannot have an agenda. When we have an agenda when we're coaching someone, it means I've already predetermined what's right in this situation for you. And everything I'm doing is to try to get you to my viewpoint. I had to take most of the 12-week class undoing that. And I still struggle with that
Right.
because it's an agenda. I have a mode of what's right and I need you to get on it. And I'm assuming if you're not on it, you're miserable.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Star said, that's so good. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's making assumptions, and oftentimes assumptions are wrong. Most times they're wrong.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Hang
I can't
on
handle this clicking. Yes.
I know. I'm thinking it's the fan. I'm going to get rid of the fan and see if that helps.
Go for it, my love. Brittany is amazing for joining us. I mean, she taught Zumba this morning. She's got 4 kids. I told her last night, just put them on some kind of, she said she's going to give them a little Benadryl nightcap so that they would be mellow today. She's juggling a lot of hats. So we're going to try to get rid of that tapping noise for you. Give us your feedback.
I don't think it was that. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is.
I
There's a
don't
better.
either. I don't know. Well, that's how annoying judgment is.
Good tie-in.
Yes. Yes.
No, I want to respond to what you said there about the agenda. So like our goal on the planet is to receive love and to give love. Okay. Now we were created to connect. We were created with, we've shared that quote, from
Yes.
the blog, that is such a part of who we are. Now, we connect so that we can receive from God. We can receive from others, and fill our cup type of thing. If we have an agenda because of judgment, we can't receive. We can't truly connect.
Right.
I don't want to connect with you if I think you want to change me and fix me. I am not a project to be fixed.
Yes.
I am a human being who needs unconditional love.
Yeah.
And if I perceive, or if you come in with the intention of you're trying to fix me, you're going to short circuit our connection, because that is judgment. And really, we should just try and destroy all the parts of ourselves that are in agreement with judgment. We should try and not destroy, but at least identify those things and reconnect elsewhere,
Yes.
with love and with with the Lord and with others, and with ourselves. Honestly, I feel like a topic that's so overlooked is the idea of self-connection, to connect yourself and I think that's what you're talking about with the magnets and the feeler and the thinker and all of that. It's about being connected within yourself, your thoughts connected to your beliefs, connected to your feelings, connected to your beliefs, because I think through pain and emotional trauma and physical trauma and whatever, we've all endured all of those things, in our life. And I think that we shut ourselves off. We disconnect our feeler so that we're not consumed by the pain.
Right.
And that's a coping mechanism that we probably needed at the time. But as we seek growth, we have to let that part of ourselves go and reconnect so that we can really bloom into what we were created to do.
Right. Well, okay. So let's make sure everybody's on the same page, because I said I'm just going to milk this entire process. I am going to talk about the 3 brains again real quick. So what we think is our mind. Okay. We have 3 brains. Our mind is what we think. So we may have very good intentions. I want to eliminate all judgment. Okay. Our heart is what we feel. Okay. What that means is that, okay, I just expressed to you guys an assumption I have about people when I see them. Even if what I want to do is help them get out of their misery, because I was miserable when I didn't know how to dress my body or feel comfortable or love my outfit for me, not for anybody else. See, the crucial thing with the feeler is if we don't feel, so see, like if I don't get in touch with little Terry and say, why do I feel like I need to stop that person from experiencing pain? A good reason is because I've not let myself really feel through that whole thing and find the good in it. If I can't look back over my life and say, I wouldn't change that. I see the good that came out of it. Did it have to happen that way? Did I have to be overweight my whole life? No. But can I look at that and celebrate the good things? But in order to get there, you can't just think it. You just can't say, okay, I'm going to celebrate it and everything's okay. You have to feel it. You have to spend some time crying and weeping and mourning for that little girl that felt rejected and disconnected and uncomfortable and not enough, so that you can partner these two things. So now what you think is what you're really feeling. And the two of them find a nice relationship. And now all of a sudden they can drop together into your gut, which is what you believe. What I believe is that there was purpose in my yesterday and that I can be empowered to change my tomorrow to wear and be who I want to be based on what I like and not what anybody else says. Today's focus is the heart brain. What are you avoiding feeling? Most of us feel stuff, but we just shut it down. We just disconnect it. Well, guess what? Your car's not going to ride if you disconnect the engine. I mean, you could have the body, you could have the steering wheel, you could have everything else is ready to go. But if the engine isn't there, if it's not connected, this thing is not going to propel. It's not going to move forward. And when it is in our bodies, it's going to be off course because you're not in alignment. So, the big thing is, what are you feeling? What are you feeling about why you're judging? What is it producing in you? When I'm looking at myself and I feel judgment, is it because I'm still mad at myself for failing the 15th diet ago? And so I'm judging myself. Am I still mad that I didn't go to prom, or I didn't like this, or this didn't happen for me because if I was just thinner? What is it that you're feeling? You cannot function and omit the feeler.
That's good.
How do you process your feelings? How are you acknowledging the crap in your life that sucked? How are you embracing the stuff that was great? Because a lot of times we don't even want to embrace the good stuff because we feel bad. Life was good, or life is good. And so we have a tendency to just shut the whole thing down, and you cannot shut this feeler down because it's coming out. Look, buried emotions never die. What's happening is they just reform themselves. They look like judgment. They look like fat because you over emotionally eat. They look like anger. All of these things are coming out in a different way. It's because you're ignoring them. So a lot of times they look like divorce. They look like addiction. They look like adultery, because you are just denying the feeler.
So true.
So I just want to thank you, Brittany, for coming. You have closing thoughts? Go for it.
I do. I think it's important just to mention that when you're trying to get out of self-judgment, such an important component of this is self-compassion and self-validation. Because I think so often we look for compassion and validation in from others, and we feel failed by them. Or their compassion and their validation isn't sticking because we have denied ourselves of our own compassion and validation.
Right.
And so you mentioned like failing the 15th diet and being ticked off about that or whatever. I was thinking, I think about like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have gained that weight back after I did all the hard work to lose that weight, blah, blah, blah. I went through hell at my life in that time. I did the best that I could with what I had. I emotionally ate because I was numbing myself because I was in a very hard time in my life. My cousin had just died unexpectedly. And, I had a deep betrayal happen in my family, and there was lots of other things. And so at that time, I fell back on an old vice. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
That is what it means to be human. In my weakness, I messed up.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the results of that, me putting on the weight, deserves judgment. It means that I said, dust myself off, and try again. I just listened to a podcast recently called had nothing to do with this, but it was on Bethel, and it was about intentional intimacy. And he says intimacy with the Lord isn't about trying harder. Okay, it's about training. When we're training instead of trying harder, that removes the anxiety behind it, and so I think of that in relationship with being healthy and making choices based on wholeness. It's a training process. It's not trying harder,
right?
And so
yes, the scripture, the Bible says that we are to run the race with endurance. It's a long race. You're a runner. You have to prepare for that, and slow and steady wins the race. Not just gangbusters until you kill yourself. And I realize that is an area of my life, getting in touch with my feeler, like you just said, realizing and taking the time to say, why did I fall off this diet? What happened? Was it just a season? Was it? And having grace for myself, processing my feelings has helped me secure my believer that I'm not a failure. I'm not a loser. I'm not out of control. I'm not doomed to be unhealthy. I'm not, it works for everybody, but not me. When I take a moment like you did and I process the season of my life and I have grace for myself, and I'm able to marinate in the dark season you were in. Don't pitch a tent there, but you're able to fully stay there long enough to come back up with a different perspective. Now you are securing your believer. Now you just know, I can do this again. My husband's great at that when it comes to eating and all that, because he loves to eat. And he ain't worried about what I'm eating and what I look like. He'll always say, babe, we got the spring. This isn't a stronghold for him. So to just see it as seasons and ebbing and flowing, it really brings a freedom, So look, you guys, we have to get our mind, our heart, and our gut on the same page so that we can get where we want to be. 330 Media is all about unlocking your door, your fullest potential. Let's get happiness that lasts. Let's not let it be fluctuating based on our dress size and how people are treating us. So thank you, Brittany, for joining us. Thank you for your blog and all that you do to help women walk in confidence. Thank you for coming. So everybody else, join me next Thursday at 10 a.m. We're going to finish this. Look, if you have something to say or you want to revisit something, or we're just not scratching the surface on the conversation that you're looking to have, private message me. Let me know. Get in touch with me at 330live@gmail.com or 330media.com. You can get in touch with me if you want to get in touch with Brittany. I can help you contact her. So thank you so much for taking the time to hang with us. And today, I just bless us to not be afraid to feel. Today, I bless us to just not flippantly judge ourselves and everybody else, but to take a second, be honest with ourselves, find out what's the root of the judgment. Where is that coming from? Why is it happening? Make a little journal note. Do whatever you need to do to process the feeling behind that and find out, is it the lack of connecting? Is it the lack of touching base with your feelings? Because we need to get to the believer strong. Look, I told you this in the very first time, the believer controls the whole thing. The way that you believe is the way that you're going. So you may think it. You may think, just get over the past. But if you haven't gotten in touch with your feelings and your believer isn't like, we're over the past, then it's not going to happen. You could talk to yourself till you're blue in the face. So I just bless you. Get in touch with your feelings. Be aware of your judgments. Be aware of the things that you think that you're just going to get over by dieting and exercising and silencing other people. Let's get to the root. Let's make permanent changes. Have an awesome week. Thank you for joining me. And like and share, subscribe. Love you guys.